when football was football, man. Let's bring our main man in. Howard Cross joins the show, current Giant analyst. Howard, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing very good, very good. How you guys doing?
Man, good, man, good. Just had the Magic Man on, man. I know you guys probably played shed a lot of the same blood in the mud, and can't appreciate you joining us, man. Let me ask you, are you still currently with the Giants broadcasting?
Yes, I do a little TV with them. Mostly I do radio with them. I do the sideline analyst, and I do some of their web shows from time to time.
Oh, okay.
Got you. No doubt. No doubt. Man, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. I try to tell my youngster here, Smitty, like, hey, man, football used to be, like, serious back then, neck rolls and shit. And I said, we wore real big pads. Smitty don't understand that, but
I do understand
that. hey, real quick, let me ask you something. Like the Bavaros and all these big-time tight ends have come through from Mackey on down. How much has the game changed? Now we're drafting guys that are more hybrid, H-back floaters that can be spread out into the slot. You guys moved around some, but it was more trade from one side to the other and still be on the line of scrimmage compared to what it is now, moving out at wide out damn near, right?
Yeah, but you have to think about it. Think about how far back you go, where the Heisman Trophy was always given to a running back, and that was the focus of football. Football was about the running back.
Good point.
How to give the ball to the running back, how to get him out in space. Making sure that you had a double team block in front of him so he'd be getting up to the second level. So tight ends were made or drafted for. You could catch the ball a lot, but they really wanted you to take care of Emmitt Smith. They want to take care of Barry Sanders or, Alan Dickerson or whoever was running the ball, Joe Morris or whoever you could think of that was running the ball. They needed a tight end to make sure that he could get a chip on the defensive end. And if there was a linebacker out there, occupy him to get the back up to the second level. When the running back was when football was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, as they say, that's where the tight end were. Your bigger guys, and they were, formidable guys in the blocking game and the run game. We caught passes, but our main objective was somebody needs to help with Reggie White. Howard, okay, I'm here. that was the game.
Damn. Let me ask you something. You are, I think you're third all time in games played for the Giants, man. Unbelievable feat. I think you only trail Strahan and Eli for most games. You're the only guy to ever play and win a Super Bowl, and then 10 years later, you lost one to the Ravens, I believe. Yeah. What was it like? The difference at the highs and the lows on those two games? Just kind of share the high, beating that Buffalo Bill team. I think at the end by 2019, I believe, or something.
Yeah.
And you lose to the Ravens, and not such a close game. But tell the difference as far as how that goes, comparison wise.
Well, the first time was my second year in the league, and we had probably one of the greatest teams that NFL with Lawrence Taylor out there, Carl Banks, Leonard Marshall. Sims had gone 10-0 before he got hurt. So we had a pretty formidable team, and we were thinking that we had won the year before when Flipper Anderson ran out of the end zone on us. When a catch, we played the Rams, but
that's right.
We kind of felt like we were like in that mode, a great team. Parcells was the coach. It was all rolling in the right direction. I think the biggest point of the Super Bowl wasn't so much the game, but what was happening in the world. I had never lived through at a conscious time in my life where there was a war where we could see everything. And that's when the Persian Gulf War kicked off and everything was happening. They were threatening to blow up stadiums, and it was crazy. And to be there playing against the Bills, both teams red, white, and blue, Whitney Houston singing the national anthem. There was no dry eye in the house. So it was a great game for all those reasons. And it kind of started, as people would say, the Super Bowl craze, kind of. The Super Bowl halftime show started kind of after that year, because I think In Living Color did a halftime show.
Same time, right?
Yeah, took eyes away from the marching band that played at halftime. So they're like, okay, we're never gonna let that happen again. So we're kind of the start of the major Super Bowl moment. The second time around, we got to play against the Ravens. And, Ozzie Newsome was my mentor. I followed him, and, he was a tight end at Alabama like me. I was even thinking about going into, wanting to be a GM like Ozzie. Like I kind of looked up to Ozzie so much, and getting to know him in that moment was pretty cool. Losing wasn't the greatest thing, but, it was a good time to spend a lot of time with Ozzie during that week and talk to him. And he was asking me about, because it was like my last season, and hear about what was going on, what it took for him to build a team. And I was like, interesting. That's that's pretty good. So, we're going to beat you guys. Like, you guys have no shot. We bantered back and forth, but that was part of the education of more about football and the business of football for me in that few weeks of just spending time with him.
No doubt. Hey, Big Smitty, I don't know if you know the history, but this cat, man, Howard, had an unbelievable run. I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but I know you started or played, I believe, from 91 to 96. I don't think you missed a game, did you? Or 99.
I didn't miss a game until I forget what year. Like, I had like a little knee injury, and they let me set for one game. I think after we came back off the bye, we had they gave me a knee surgery. They're like, okay, you can rest. We're playing Washington. They're not that good. And I'm like, I don't want to rest. I could get a touchdown in this game.
Right.
So there's one game that I set out. But
Damn.
yeah, that was it.
91 to 98, 16 games straight every year, Smitty.
That's amazing, especially when you look at today's game, and not just even NFL, NBA, all these different sports. Players are quick to sit out now. Like, if they have a hangnail, they're going to sit out for 2 games. Like, you being the guy who you are and you were as a player, when you see that today, like, does that just, I guess, how does that make you feel?
I think that today guys are and contracts are so big that all leagues, NBA, NFL, baseball, they're all trying to protect themselves, trying to make sure that they're trying to protect their investments in these guys and their bodies. The guys are trying to make sure they're living to the next contract. So it's a little different. But the reality of it is that if the parameters of yesterday was today, you wouldn't see it, because if I sat down, the guy that was behind me was going to get on the field, and that guy got on the field, I may never see the field again. And that was the whole idea. Was like, hey, you better make sure you get out there. There was no, you could be injured for 5 weeks, and when you come back, you'll be a starter. 5 weeks later, they may not ever see you again. They could cut you and let you go somewhere. Like, well, he looks pretty good, and he's younger and cheaper. So, like, you had to stay on the field. You had to be out there. You had to be competing. You had to fight for your position constantly. And we beat ourselves up, but we weren't, so bad that the next guy was better than you, and they put him in the game over you. I mean, I played like what dislocated shoulders. I played in the game, I think my second year in the league, the year we went to the Super Bowl. I broke my hand the first game of the season during the game, and the coach says, "Can he catch?" Because I had caught like 3 or 4 passes. I'm like, yeah, I can figure it out. He goes, "Can he still block?" I'm like, oh yeah, he can still block. Wrap it up. Put him back in. Let's go. That was the way we played. Now, if that would have happened, I'd have been out for 6 weeks. I would have been. It'd just be something different. But back then, no, we did it up. I remember watching them, strap LT's arm to his side because he had dislocated his shoulder, and he went back in the game and played. So like we just played.
One arm.
Yeah, one arm. Mm-hmm. And
got
a sack.
Hey, Howard, let me ask you something. Your 90 defense, that 90 defense with Wilbur and LT and you guys, unbelievable defense. I thought was one of the best ever. That came right after the 85 Bears, obviously, that's so discussed. We had Dan Hampton on the other day and all those teams. That 90 that 2000 Ravens team that you played 10 years later, where do you rank them with Ray and Ed Reed and all those guys? How do you compare them to your defense and the 85 Bears team and the other teams that you have seen? Or I know you got in the league after the 85 Bears, but your team on that Giant defense and the defenses you saw in the 90s that we've had some great ones inside there. Where was that Ravens D at?
I think the Ravens had a pretty good defense. I think their scheme was pretty interesting. You had Adams and Saragusa kind of grabbing and holding up front and allowing Ray and those guys to run free from sideline to sideline. So, like, Ray was almost like a running back in the aspect of no one was getting a hand on him. So, he's getting free runs of guys. It's kind of hard to, go against him. I think our defense that we had was pretty good. I think the defense that the Giants won the first Super Bowl with in '86, but Harry Carson was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor was a Hall of Famer. You had some dogs in that defense. Mark Collins at cornerback, Jerry Rice says was the hardest cover, to cover him in his history of the league. You had Pepper Johnson, who was constantly going to the Pro Bowl. Carl Banks who I think should be a Hall of Famer in my opinion. Leonard Marshall, borderline Hall of Famer himself. You had some dogs out there in '86. I think in our team, we still had some of those guys. They were a little older, but we still had those guys. And they were still making plays. So, and you look back, and I tell people this all the time: the guys that played with us, they were out of position. Lawrence Taylor would have been a defensive end anywhere else at 6'5", at 260 pounds, coming off the edge. He wouldn't have been playing linebacker. Carl Banks would have probably been just about a defensive end at 6'5", 250 in those days. Like we had some horses out there that were moving quickly. So
Jim Burt too. No,
yeah, Jim Burt played in 1990 with us as well. Yeah, I think people don't realize. I said when I always hear people go, "Oh, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger." I'm like, yeah, not really. Like we had the bigger, faster guys in the league when we were playing, and
I love when I hear that shit.
They were freaking scary.
Hey, let me ask, could Carl Banks be a Hall of Famer? I don't know why he's not.
You got to get the thing with the Hall of Fame is I don't know if they let veterans or whatever vote for it like they do in some of the other sports. I think it's just all the media. And if a guy grows, you grow up watching a player and you become a media member, you campaign for him. But if the guy that's campaigning for you is an older guy, he might retire while he's campaigning for you, and no one will pick up the torch to keep it up. So you're kind of left with, you got to hope that the right guy at the right point in his career is following you, and then he's campaigning for you to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's around, and his voice is going to be heard. If not, you could be left on the wayside like Klecko. Like Klecko should have been a Hall of Famer many moons ago. He made all pro at all the positions on the defensive line. And whoever was campaigning for him and championing him at that moment just kind of retired. And that guy retired and no one else picked up the torch. So he kind of waited to got in as an old timer when he should have just been in probably the first ballot.
Man,
no doubt.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Let's talk about, I guess, the Giants today. Obviously, NFL draft just wrapped up. You're still covering the Giants to this day. How do you look at or evaluate what the Giants did in this year's draft?
I thought they did great with Abdul Carter. I'm hoping that the ankle or the foot injury that he had is past and super healed. Because last thing you need is a first round pick of that talent being hindered by an injury. I think the running back Shedeur is a pretty good guy. I think one of the D tackles, hopefully he's going to be a good player. I don't know that much about him. I know the offensive guard that they got, the O lineman they got was a pretty good player. Jackson Dart, I'm interested to see how he does. And because there were quarterbacks on the board, you're thinking about which one you're going to take. They obviously liked him a lot. Whatever qualities they saw in him, I hope that they pan out. And I hope that he doesn't have to play right away, because that's always like the downside of being a young high draft pick. But I think he's drafted far enough back. They will give him some time to develop if that's what they're looking for. But all in all, I think they got probably an A grade on the draft because of the defense they picked up. They finally got a young offensive lineman that's got a little nasty about him. So, and he's going to be a little more upset because he thought he should be drafted higher. Kind of like even my son. My son's talking about he's so excited to go into the league because he goes, I should have been a second round pick. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter what you should have been. Now you're here, show everybody. That's how to look at it.
Like Shedeur, right? So that's what he got to do. So Shedeur got a man up now. Hey, it's time to go. You got picked fifth round. It is what it is. Now you got an opportunity that 1% of the world gets. So I'm with you on that.
I think Shedeur is going to probably wind up starting for them, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Wow, he's really good," and I'm going to be laughing at them the whole time.
So you high on him?
Oh yeah, the kid's really good. Like the kid's an NFL quarterback. Like people like, I don't know what the whole deal was with the interview process and these knuckleheads. I think there's just a hot click button and they just like, oh, now we're just going to ride with it. If you're completing 75+% of your passes and you're getting sacked 92 times in 2 years, yeah, you're already an NFL quarterback. You're used to getting hit. You know how to get the ball out on time. You know how to check it down. You know how to get it downfield. You are an NFL quarterback. Things are going crazy around you. and you're still calm and you're able to do it, you're an NFL quarterback. When you have a kid that has, I would say, great character, a great family, and you don't draft him, like whatever comes out, these anonymous sources, all this other stuff, they're going to be embarrassed and they should all get fired. And that's how I look at it.
I love it.
Interesting.
1,000%.
Yeah, I disagree with the whole. I think he's good. I think he was the best deep ball thrower in college football. There's no question. I don't know if he's gonna. Smitty and I argue this debate. Before we get you out of here, can't thank you enough. Before we get you out of here, let me ask you the quarterback position, how it's transitioned. I guess from the guy who was a sitting duck, the Phil Simms, even though as great as he was, Hostetler's and Jim Kelly's and all the guys you saw, and then Eli, and then. Now it's transitioned to a athletically gifted freak back there who can run around, make plays, extend them with his feet. Where are you at with this particular draft? Shedeur is not the most athletic. He's more of an ad-lib kid, kind of like a Mahomes-ish with his feet to make plays, extend plays. And then you got a Milroe and a guy like him who can run around, and they say maybe the best since AR5 coming out of the draft as far as using his feet. Where are you at with the position now? Can you win both ways, or is it transitioned to one way only, being that gifted freak, or can you still win by being a pocket guy?
The ideal about quarterback is that you have to be able to process your information quickly. You can stand in the pocket, never move a step, and you can process quickly, get rid of the ball like a Joe Burrow, who I consider one of the most talented kids back there slinging it. Or you can be big and strong like the Josh Allens and the Lamar Jacksons and run all over guys and do that part of the game. I think processing and being able to get rid of the ball is probably the greatest aspect of being a quarterback. I don't care if you can run or not. If you can't process it and get into the hands of the guys that they intend for you to get it in the hands of, then you're not that great of a quarterback. The only time that needing a guy that can run as a third option and be whatever, how great that is that when your outside people and your skill guys aren't that good. If they can't get open when he hits his step on the third step and he gets ready to release the ball, if that guy can't get open, then you need to have options. If he hits his fifth step and that guy isn't open, and I got to look to the third guy and he may not be open, then this guy needs to know how to run. If your offensive line is suspect, which a lot of them are, then you need to know how to run. I don't think the running of the quarterback is the greatest invention or the greatest attribute that everybody seems to think about. And if now the best athlete on the field is now the quarterback. Well, the best athlete in the field always probably was the quarterback. Just because he didn't run and get hit and stuff didn't make him not a great athlete. They played basketball, they played baseball, they did everything. But the guys that are able to process football, process defenses, recognize what's happening when a guy's coming from where they're coming from and why. That's what you're looking for. And when you think about this, and you're saying, has the football position changed, or has the quarterback position changed, and is it gone away from the stationary quarterback? Think in your mind, start naming quarterbacks in your mind over the last 25 years, and then you decide, has football moved away from Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, go even further back, Dan Marino? Has it moved away from people that can process and get rid of the ball and move to, I love Jalen Hurts. Absolutely adore Jalen Hurts. He was a former Bama guy. But has it moved to Jalen, or does Jalen have this incredible run game, that old school football that you look at, this incredible running back and a defense that seems to be relentless and unstoppable? And his best games weren't when he was running, but when he was handing the ball to 2-6 in the backfield and dumping it off to a receiver that if he catches it at 5, he's going to take it 75. That made him better. He became a better processor when there were more people to worry about around him than him.
Good point.
Yeah. So I still think that I'll live and die on this point, that processing and being able to get the ball out and knowing where. Okay, so I'm looking up, this guy's over here in press. That means when he goes down the field, he's going to go with him. He's going to roll to the corner. Okay, I know my back's going to chip right here. He's going to be out. I got a crosser coming on the backside. Down, set, safety's rolling back, crosser's out. He's rolling. Look for the crosser, look for the crosser, look for the crosser, turn back, play, next play, let's go. Like that's processing. You got to know it. You got to know where you're. Okay, I got the best pass rusher over here. The tight end's going to bump him on the out, so the tight end's going to be my last option. He knows to stand over there. If this guy gets free somehow, you better be ready for the ball because I'm not going to let this 290-pound band rip my arm off or knock me down. Okay, good. Blue 19, tight end comes across. Okay, safeties roll over. They're rolling this way because they know the cornerback over here doesn't need help because this guy's coming. You got to stop Watt on this side. All right, so if I can't stop Watt, what we're going to do? Said Hut. Okay, he's got Watt. No, he doesn't.
No,
hey, you bad. You got me getting hyped over here, Howard. You a bad boy.
Hey, you covered the game
football right now, Jason. None of that.
Hey, Smitty, he covers it. He knows it. Hey, let me ask you something. What's your take on Scatterbo, the big white kid running back? Has he got a chance to be something in the league?
I think that he better be because he got drafted that year. But I think that
he ain't 2'6". I tell you that he ain't 2'6".
Yeah, he's gonna have to be. He's
better than Shedeur,
though. What's the word I'm looking for? It depends on how well the line blocks.
Okay.
If the line blocks decent, he'll be a good back. If the line doesn't block decent, yeah, you're not running over defensive linemen in the NFL. You're not,
like college, yeah.
Yeah, you're not bouncing off guys. Like you might be running into one or two guys that might make it into the league when you're in college. One or two guys you might be able to shake. But if a D lineman hits you in the NFL, you're down. Like,
here's what it is, right?
Look, I was watching Saquon when he's with the Giants. He would dodge 3 dudes before he get 2 yards. I'm like, man, I feel bad for you, bro. You better learn how to. He goes like, they're telling me to run up in the hole. Like there is no hole.
Right.
So he was, battling it out. And when you saw guys, like I said, when you see guys that get to the second level, then they're backs. They're big time backs. If you see guys that can't get this, look at Christian McCaffrey when he was in Carolina.
Yeah.
And then when he was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Being able to get to that second level makes you look invincible.
No doubt.
Hit in the backfield make you look very human. And Scatterbo better hope that the offensive line, can hold up on some blocks, get some people out of the way, that the tight ends can help chip and stuff to get him out in space so we can do it. Because if those big dogs in front get their hands on you, it ain't a lot of dancing and talking after that.
Jason, this is my last question, Howard. We can't thank you enough. We're gonna let you go here. Mm-hmm. I've been listening to everything that you're telling me right now. You're talking about, you mentioned Saquon and how great, obviously we saw how great he was this last year. And then in terms of the draft, you mentioned how you think Shedeur is going to be a really good quarterback, and listen to the reasons why. As a Giants as legend yourself, do you feel like the Giants made a mistake by number 1, letting Saquon go, and number 2, by drafting Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders? Keep it real with us, Howard.
And here's the real story. I believe that they offered Saquon a really good contract the prior year, and Saquon's representatives probably said, you're worth more to the team than they're offering you, and you should hold out for it. The problem with that, and he was definitely worth more to the team probably than the negotiation was going. But the problem with it was the timing of it. That's the year they were talking about trading Derrick Henry. That's the year they were talking about letting all these guys go. So you're in a market that isn't speaking to you, that's giving you the ability to quote unquote capitalize on it. And he decided not to take the money, to take the franchise tag for that year, and then come back and prove himself on kind of a 1-year deal. And then the following year, they just kind of like, we're going to pay Daniel Jones, and if we pay Daniel Jones this money, then Daniel Jones has to be the focus, and he has to get it done. And it was almost like, and I don't know, and I don't want to say the way the show kind of made it look, is that they looked at Daniel Jones and they were like, hey, look, there you're on the island. If you're going to do it, you're going to show you can do it. And taking away Daniel's best weapon behind him left him on the island and got him out of town. Woo. So and I think that, and I'm not saying that that's the intent, but that's the way the viewership looks at it. We're like, interesting. Everybody said the same thing. So Saquon goes down to Philly. Saquon went to a bunch of different teams, would have not had the same success.
Right.
Philadelphia has the best offensive line there is. And if you ever just go look at them, if you can get to a sideline or in the front row, just stand there and look at them. That they make me look small. And I'm a big dude. I'm like, holy smokes, these guys and they're great with their feet. They can move, they can do all this stuff. When it comes down to like drafting quarterbacks, I'm not a quarterback person. I can tell you what I saw in college.
Yep.
I can tell you what the stats were. I can tell you what I'm looking at. I saw Jackson Dart play. He did okay, but for completions and all this other stuff, I saw one person. Now the question is, who do they believe has the most upside?
Right.
Has Shedeur, this is who he is, and can we work with this? Or do they think that he could grow a little bit more? Jackson Dart, this is who he is, but he has so much more room to grow. It's kind of like Jalen Milroe.
Right.
Well, he's really fast, but, if we can get him under control, he could be the next Allen. Right. Oh, really? Okay. So that's what you're looking at. You got to figure out what each guy is saying and what they think. Now, in my mind, I'm saying that if they believe that Jackson Dart has a lot of upside, they're drafting for their futures. And everybody goes, well, they're only there for 1 year. I said, no, they're drafting for their futures because they're going to show if they were to leave or get fired, that they left the team in good status.
No doubt.
Yeah. So drafting for today, what's best for me right now is not great for the team in the future. So if they're doing this and drafting a kid, I'm not saying that's what they did. I'm just saying, if you think about it, if you're drafting a kid for a moment, you want to show that, hey, look, no matter what was going on in our lives or our current situation, we were making sure the team was going to be as healthy as possible as we were going out. We weren't trying to satisfy our needs right then. I think that one thing helps Shedeur from a Giant perspective, because you don't know if the line's going to be 100% and all these other different things that he might need. That would have put him at a loss if he had to come in and had to play right away. That could have been bad for him. Could have been bad for his overall career. I think him getting drafted where he did and going to Cleveland with a guy who quarterbacks people that size, that's that guy's specialty, basically. I think it's the best thing for him. A healthier team, a healthier offensive line. They're going to have a great running game. I love Flacco, but I think Flacco's close to my age. Shaun is never going to take another snap there, probably. If they could get him out of there sooner, they would. And then Pickett, love him to death, but that's it. So
small hands.
Yeah,
small hands.
Yeah, he got put into a situation.
Little boy hands.
Yeah. He got the Whopper hands, them little hands on the Whopper. But,
Hey.
I'm just making jokes. They're making little
We
hands.
just playing around, having fun.
I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing.
Hey, Howard, man. We can't thank you enough, brother. Hey, let me ask you something. Is Bavaro underrated?
Who?
Bavaro.
Yeah, yes, totally. He was Bavaro had the greatest moments in as a tight end, dragging guys, running over guys, and he also looked like Rambo. So like he was so marketable. If he was playing today and Rambo was coming out today, he would be one of the highest paid tight ends in history. Like he was that good. Yes. I
think he was underrated, man. But hey, man, we can't thank you enough for the stories, man. And I can't wait to listen to you this year for the Giants, and hopefully they have a better year coming up, man. I know a lot of Giant fans, and shout out to you and your career, man, and best success to you, man. And stay safe out there. And I have to get you on again during the season, maybe.
All right, and you guys keep an eye out for the Bengals because my son got picked up by Cincinnati.
I saw that. He's a dog D tackle from Notre Dame, man. Wish him all the best. And yeah, man, can't wait to watch him ball out.
No doubt.
I'm gonna speak into existence.
Hey, Burrow, best QB in the league. Hey, shout out, Howard. Appreciate you, brother.
You too, bro.